is little
In 2 more
Jose.
years, we get the 14.
Jose is climbing the door because he thinks it's a tree. Soon he will sprout out of his shell too, and have big beautiful wings in which he can fly around and make loud noises.
There's one place I drive through on the way. I don't have any at my house. And then you drive through a place and you can hear them inside the cars.
Uh-huh.
They're in Black Mountain. I hear them, but they're not.
Right where you're at.
Not right.
They're off the distance.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who that is. He's not a friend of mine.
When I was in New York, they came out.
Oh, there is little Javier again.
It's just amazing because even in the city, they were just everywhere. You know, just.
It's like ladybugs. One day, one of the buildings downtown was just, the wall was just covered in ladybugs.
There we go. I brought our mics back up. We're now back on the.
Yeah, live.
Back on live.
Javier in focus. We can there we go.
Cicada pie.
So here again is another clip of Javier. Apparently he
You know,
really likes
how does one
Javier.
of the
He
locust
keeps
things?
filming Javier.
That's a low guy.
That could carrots.
Is it a low guy?
I like the fact that he's got the two phony big eyes.
The cameraman should put the camera in
Two
focus.
phony big eyes, see these?
Javier is shaking a little.
Those two
Maybe
red
he's scared
phony,
of the
but the
camera.
two red ones isn't real
Oh, okay.
nice.
I do not know if he is scared of the camera or if he is scared of his new wings.
Stop action similar to photography.
It is scary being a cicada sometimes.
All right. And I've left a little of the sound on from that, so you can, so people can hear some of that.
Well, I think I'm gonna go down
You
to
can
the
see the
BB
little baby
theater.
wings when we first come out. They are like little baby
There's
wings.
some sort of a woman's.
They are the white and
What
orange
time does
wings
it
by
start?
the right and left side of our heads. They are very little
You
and
don't wanna be
squished up
late.
when we first come out.
No, they said they'd be on time.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I gotta go set up for the glow lady.
Bye bye. Bye
Here
bye.
you can see many of the people well, they are not people. They are actually cicadas. Here you can see many of the
And then
cicadas
I'll
who come to this
go to
door to
Marshall.
grow. And there is
See what's
little
happening
Javier.
there.
He is finally out. He is hanging by a thread.
My day has been
Or
full
maybe
to
some feet.
exceeding.
Uh-huh.
Went to the VA this morning and talked to my psychiatrist for the PTSD.
Oh, yeah? Tell us about it.
Nah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And asked me if I was hearing voices, and I said, of course.
No,
Was I paranoid? And I said, of course.
Of
Who
course.
isn't?
And,
Who isn't?
see, that's what I tell them. I'm telling them, but I handle it well.
Yes.
Is that what you tell them? I'm
No,
used
I
to
don't handle it very well.
And I'm
He said,
handle-
do you spend more money than what you have? And I said, yes.
Yes.
Has it caused you financial difficulties? Obviously.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes. So, but it was pleasant. The people out there are beautiful and caring and concerned and free with the medication.
Yeah.
You know, free medication. That's always.
Do they give you medication for that? They do me. Not the VA, but I see a counselor. As a matter of fact,
You see Clonopin. You take Clonopin.
And I
It's a
have
great drug.
I have an appointment with my psychiatrist next week.
Clonopin's a great drug. Should be free to everyone.
I was
Get
thinking
it out
that
of candy machines and stuff.
I was thinking that do they give that to you?
Yeah,
Is that what keeps you calm?
yeah. Keeps me, makes me go to sleep at night. That's the big thing. If you get sleep, you can live.
That's you're echoing what I tell them. You know
If I can
that's
sleep, I can live.
right. But if you're only getting 2 to 4 hours a night,
You're dead.
after a while you come unhinged.
You
Yeah,
got tinnitus? You have tinnitus? You hear the ringing?
Huh?
Do you hear ringing?
I do.
Tinnitus?
Yeah, I
With
do.
the
I have a profound ringing in my right ear.
I have a B flat in my right ear and like a
I
A
never
sharp.
really
in
keyed
the-
it. I never keyed it. It's equal though, so it doesn't bother
Is
me.
that part of PSTD thing?
No.
Okay.
It's from being in front of loud stuff.
Yeah. I always figured that, but I figured.
Artillery has a chance. Artillery.
Hey there, come on back in.
I've got to go or I'll be late. And the
Oh,
wedding-
maybe I'll see you at Marshall.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, here, slide
I'm the
over here.
Marshall, everybody. Let's see. Got my slide, got my guitar, got my booger scares. Scares the boogers off.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So if you hear me out on Sugar Camp Road,
Yeah.
I'm trying to scare the boogers off.
So as long as we stay near U4 station boogers.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I don't
thank
see
you.
any buggers, so it
Oh,
must
wait a
work.
minute, wait a minute. Just before you go, you didn't do Donald Rumsfeld.
Let's do that in honor of that New York Times article that said that they had falsified information.
Falsified information. Okay.
We'll do a very calm and not robust.
All right.
We gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld from a sour apple tree. Gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld just to watch him swinging free. Gonna hang him high, we're gonna hang him low. Dead down, we're gonna hang him some more. We're gonna hang him from sour apple tree when revolution comes. Gonna walk up to Washington and walk right in front door. Said to Mr. President, this stuff don't get it no more. Gonna take you, Mr. Rumsfeld, and the Vice President too. Gonna take you all down to the National Mall. This is what we're gonna do. Gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld from a sour apple tree. Gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld just to watch him swinging free. We're gonna hang him high, gonna hang him low, and dead. We're gonna hang him some more. Gonna hang him from a sour apple tree when the revolution comes. Well, we're tired of all this pain and suffering, tired of pain and woe. We're tired of your pasty white faces and that good-looking black girl. We're tired of hearing about torture and extraordinary rendition. Gonna take you back to the farm where you can't do no harm, but there's one condition. We gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld from a sour apple tree. Gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld just to watch him swinging free. We're going to hang him high, hang him low. When he dead. We're gonna hang him some more, hang him from a sour apple tree when the revolution comes. Well, there's another verse, but I can't remember it.
Come on.
Come on. I can't remember it. It was a good verse though.
You already did an extraordinary rendition, right?
We did that one.
Okay.
Extraordinary rendition. Going to send you back to the farm where you can't do no harm. But there is one condition.
Did you do the one about the National Mall?
Yeah, we did that one. This was we don't like seeing the rocket people bombed out of the home. And all those poor little children wandering around alone. We don't like going to war over presidential deception.
Yep.
I don't believe in capital punishment, but I will make one exception. We're gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld from a sour apple tree. Hang Donald Rumsfeld just to watch him swing free. We're gonna hang him high, hang him low, dead. We're gonna hang some more. We're gonna hang Donald Rumsfeld from a sour apple tree when the revolution come. I really mean it. When the revolution come, I ain't kidding. When the revolution come. La la la. God bless y'all.
All right, thank you.
May a better day come.
And hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you soon. Come to Marshall. It's a happening.
It's a happening.
It's happening to Marshall.
I get my microphone back.
All right.
You have one there too. You might pull that
Oh, I think I will.
to front of you, and here is a cup for which to put
Hey, all right. It's
tea,
my
and
cup.
I recommend that pot right now.
Okie doke. You know, I was just thinking.
No.
Yeah, I
You
do
don't
it
say.
sometimes.
You don't say.
Every once in a while, I think.
No.
You know how, among other things, the ruins of old Babylon, the army moved into there and has been using that to barrack people in?
Really?
You've heard about that?
No.
I don't remember all the details. It's not something I spend a lot of time talking on the news.
I'm quite interested in Babylon because when I was young and yet in elementary school, my godmother was in Iraq and in that area of the country a whole lot, and she would come home on visits, and she brought to me pieces of brick and tile from the Hanging Gardens of Babylon that I had when I was a child. And go ahead.
In Old Babylon is what we think of as literally Babylon.
Right.
Is located in what is now modern Iraq, and it is quite possibly the oldest city human beings have. Period. The ruins of Old Babylon.
It certainly
outside
ranks way
Baghdad.
up there. We know
Certainly
that.
way up there.
Yeah.
And the ruins in just the past 5 years have been bulldozed, run through with tanks, and pretty much trashed by the U.S. military.
No doubt.
And I wonder how much of that is deliberate. I mean, I have suspect that these guys, that being the Bush administration and the neocons and all these people, are so utterly contemptuous. I mean, the degree with which contempt for anything that is not them goes to the very core of their beings and emanates from their souls. I rather suspect that they are quite deliberately, slowly, steadily destroying the architectural
remnants of ancient civilization.
Yeah, remnants of an ancient civilization, and perhaps quite possibly the oldest civilization that we really have historical records of. I wouldn't put it past them to just completely destroy it for the sake of destroying it. I would not put it past these guys at all, or where they come from. Certainly, at the very least, it's not like it's something that they would care about. It's not like where they come from, they actually care about anything like, the splendor of human history and the fact that we have spent thousands of years crawling ourselves up from the muck, and that is one of the places where it started from. Because, these guys want to just go ahead and...
Get back down in the muck.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the very least, remake human history and human society to fit their own little goals and images. So, I mean, you bulldoze ancient artifacts, it's not like these guys care. I mean, I think they have so little respect for human history as it is. I mean, a lot of these guys would still like to convince us that the world is only at most 6,000 years old and that dinosaur fossils were placed there to test our faith.
They certainly test mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even if they don't believe it themselves, I think they like to get that notion out there just to dumb us down and make us easier to control. So.
Right. I think they learned those techniques to dumb us down from the space aliens that raise up test tube armies of us to rule over us.
Space aliens with test tube. I can see... maybe...
All they need to do is gather a little genetic material.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, if the space aliens have the technology to be space aliens, I mean, why use us? I suppose if you want,
Perhaps,
some sort of disposable...
Perhaps we're some form of sport. I don't know. That's the ongoing question. Why would they even bother dropping by? But they do.
I don't know. I mean, why not just build killer robots then, or something like that?
They do
If
drop.
they've got
They do drop by.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, in some science fiction novels, it has been a plot device that human race encounters space aliens, and the space aliens are more technologically advanced, but human beings have greater aggressor instincts. So there have been sci-fi novels in which human beings just against a more advanced civilization still prove to be the superior soldier because humans are crazy and dangerous.
All written by human beings.
Yeah, and the evolved alien is just not as good as violence. It was the sort of thing where somebody was telling me about some science fiction book, and there was some sort of evolved space federation, and they admitted human beings so they could use human beings as soldiers because humans were just better at killing other aliens than they were.
I'm going to tell you something. We had some form of catastrophe, probably a large asteroid or something like that hit this planet sometime back and basically wiped out the dinosaurs and stuff like that, which were for the most part reptilian-based life forms. Now, if evolution on the planet had continued with a more reptilian-based life form, the chances are good that it would have less of the emotional or empathic kind of things that we think of that mammals seem to have more of, warm and fuzzy. See, reptiles aren't warm and fuzzy.
No.
You see what I mean?
Well, some people think that
And so they would be more vicious. Now, if space aliens came from a planet that developed reptilian and was allowed to develop more reptilian and didn't get wiped out after a certain period, and continued along that line, they could be much more vicious than less developed human warrior types. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's some modern paleontologists think that, in fact, modern birds have more in common with dinosaurs than modern lizards. Some do. And generally speaking, it's considered, a lot of people think that modern birds are in fact the descendant of dinosaurs. I mean, direct lineage. That the remnants of dinosaurs, you look at
I believe that chickens are dinosaurs. And I believe this from making audio recordings of chickens and slowing them way down and listening to them, and they are you listen to them and you know you're listening to dinosaurs. They're just they're just small sped up dinosaurs, and if you just slow them down, they are great big dinosaurs. And you just know that. I mean, you can close your eyes and instantly the genetics in your mind instantly paint the picture of the dinosaurs for you, making those noises.
Well, yeah. The theory behind that being that, in fact, it was only the really large dinosaurs that died off. I mean, there were dinosaurs of every freaking size, from the Brontosaurus, but there are also dinosaurs that were, that big. And the small dinosaurs did not die off. They just steadily changed over 65 million years, and now we've got birds, not all of whom even fly.
Well, chickens don't fly a lot.
Yeah.
They don't do a lot of flight, but they fly some. Yeah, I think chickens are very dinosaur, and I think sharks are very dinosaur.
Well, sharks are definitely, a completely different classification of creature biologically, but yeah, very, very
ancient water creature. Yes,
absolutely. I mean, we still to this day don't really even know what a shark's natural lifespan is. Really, we don't really know.
We don't know what a shark's natural lifespan is.
Well, sharks are one of these creatures that we think could in fact outlive human beings.
Really?
It's like some reptiles, some birds, some creatures that are evolved from ancient creatures can outlive human beings. A turtle, like a big turtle, will outlive a human being. Parrots can outlive human beings.
Some parrots.
Yes, and some alligators can in fact outlive human beings.
Yes.
And people think that sharks are in fact have the same capacity.
Well, I never had a clue on that.
Well, didn't you hear about the shark virgin birth?
This
was a few months back.
Virgin birth?
This is a few months back.
Jesus shark?
Like a female shark that had never been exposed to a male shark gave birth to a shark.
So how do we know that she was never exposed?
Because this is a shark that had been raised and spent her entire life in captivity.
Right, and was overcome by the Holy Spirit and gave a virgin birth to Jesus shark.
Some creatures
shark will bite you just the same as any other shark.
Some creatures can in fact, some egg-laying creatures do not in fact need to be fertilized, but can lay an egg that is exact genetic replica of themselves.
Are you telling me that sharks lay eggs?
Lay eggs or give birth. I think sharks do live birth.
Live birth, I
believe. They do live birth. But I mean, it's confirmed that some lizards can in fact lay eggs, and it is also would be female lizards that are exact genetic copies. And apparently this brand of shark can do the same thing.
All right, now what's the phone number here?
505-2806.
Okay, and if you believe in Jesus shark, call and let us know.
Actually, I kind of want to Google this now because I remember like the evening news or something like that. It was one of these things that made the news cycle for 2 days, You know, they showed it's some aquarium in Europe, and you know it's the evening news, and they showed a picture of like the little itty bitty baby shark, and you know what?
It was cute.
It was cute. It's a baby shark like this big.
Right. Well, I used to have a little baby shark.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't try cuddling it or anything because part of the news report was that Mama Shark of the virgin birth was apparently very protective of little baby shark. So,
Oh my.
I'm sure the aquarium handlers probably didn't rush in to do the poking and the prodding. But it's been a few months, so they may have gotten, they've probably gotten a blood sample off a little baby shark by now. So.
I think that they need to do one of those tests, with all the other sharks at the aquarium, and see if there's not another shark in the woodpile there somewhere.
Well, yeah, I mean at this point, they've probably done the genetic testing at this point. The assumption the scientists were making was that the female shark gave birth to a genetic replicant of itself. So basically, she gave birth to herself. A baby version of herself. That was the assumption that the guys at the aquarium were making, but it had not been verified at that point because the shark was only days old, and they weren't going near it yet.
Right. Okay.
But worth checking into.
It is indeed. That sounds very exciting. That's
That said, I don't think people should be allowed to clone themselves and raise themselves as kids. That's creepy.
It's creepy when a shark does it.
It's creepy. Well, yeah, but if it's something that sharks will...
Jesus shark.
But if lo and behold, it's something that species of shark is in fact capable of doing, well, there you are.
I'm going to tell you what.
What?
If we wind up crucifying that shark.
I don't think they're going to crucify the shark.
They will. You know what they'll do? They'll go in there and they'll get that shark out of that tank and they'll pin that shark down.
But
and they'll what will they call it when they cut them open? They'll dissect that thing. That's right.
You can't. Well, the typical cross type thing is not shaped quite right for a shark.
We'll make a shark cross. Whatever. Yes, Jesus shark was born without a daddy.
Perhaps we should worship this shark.
I plan to worship this shark.
I'm sure somebody already is.
It's more legitimate than the spaghetti monster.
Well,
I don't know.
You don't get here.
If the person with the spaghetti monster that was here in Asheville, right?
Yeah.
If someone knows the kid who is the Pastafarian child,
right?
The Pastafarian youngster, I don't know how old this person was, but the Pastafarian who worships the flying spaghetti monster, please, he is invited on the show. I too have great reverence for the flying spaghetti monster, and I want to be associated with this person. I think that the whole concept's absolutely brilliant. So if you have knowledge of the flying spaghetti monster and contacts with Pastafarians, please contact me on the tea party. That's right, and we have cookies, plenty of. Have me one of them with the chocolate middle to it. All right.
I gotta say, I find the followers of the flying spaghetti monster a whole lot less scary
than the shark guys.
Then, if you read the fine points of belief systems such as those involving the rapture, it's some scary and evil stuff. Really. I mean, the waiting with gleeful anticipation for all of humankind to burn for the sake of your salvation is a little sick. Seriously, kinda sick.
Sounds delusional to me.
Yeah.
Does that sound delusional to you?
I was raised Catholic, so I don't really have a sense of reality anymore.
Tell us about that. So what did you say? You said you were raised Catholic? Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
so,
but a lot of Catholics... So
you don't find it to be delusional?
Well, is the rapture
I find it to be a cult. I think it's a cult.
Well, yeah. Jonathan, let me ask you this. Is the rapture like a central part of Catholicism, or it's pretty much just an evangelical thing?
I don't remember being here too much about what revelations of the rapture is going to be like. I remember big emphasis on communion and confession.
See, I wasn't raised.
Those are the two things that the Catholics do. That they believe literally that the wine and the little cracker thing they give you, the unleavened bread, literally turns into the body and blood of Jesus Christ upon the sacramental blessing.
And now we're going to make it, and the seaweed becomes the body of the Jesus shark. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you just like spit out enough of the wine, can you then get a Jesus type blood transfusion?
A refill. Can you get a refill?
Damn it! I want to see in a comic book
have to
somebody
sip.
perverts the sacramental spell, creates themselves a pint of Jesus blood, then shoots themselves up with it and gets superpowers.
Like a vampire?
Or something, yeah. Or there you go, a Catholic vampire. Glug, 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 and they got Jesus blood in them, and
That's
a
brilliant.
vampire with Jesus blood is
brilliant.
probably, going to be pumped up and powerful for a
Probably
while.
blasphemous and sacrilegious to talk about it, but absolutely brilliant.
All I can say is altar boys, watch out.
Yeah, for real.
Fair enough, yes.
That adds a whole new dimension to what
Fair enough, yes.
altar boys.
To super priest or whatever.
You see, I was raised...
But the other main tenet is confession, where you are supposed to confess your sins to a priest who is somehow it was thought of or decided that man cannot talk to God specifically, that he needs a go-between. Hence the entire Catholic Church.
Right. That gives them the
They're the middleman. They can rock the prices up, or
exactly that gives them the monopoly on it, because
Right.
that's what they really did not like the most about the Reformation. And I loved Father Guido, because he started his own religion. He says, I just want to be Monsignor, and he says, and they won't make me Monsignor. So he says, to get their attention, he says, I've decided to start my own religion. He says the one thing, he says, the Catholic Church hates, he says, is a schism.
Yeah.
There's a schism, he says.
Well, with the portion of my childhood that was devoted to being brought up as evangelical fundamentalist, the rapture is a big part of it. And a lot of these people really think that humanity has some dark times ahead of it, which, I don't necessarily argue, but this whole notion that it's part of God's will and is actually like a really great thing. A lot of these people genuinely believe that basically the end of human history and human culture and the end of human race as we know it, for that matter, is like this impending thing that is in fact really, really great.
right.
Basically, all these people are gleefully waiting for most of us to die so they could get into heaven.
Well, see,
that's sick.
The problem I have with Revelation, people who talk about the doomsday and Revelations and the apocalypse and whatnot, is it completely, and that everything is God's will, is that it completely makes it to where they don't have to take responsibility for their actions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Instead of saying, maybe choices I've made and my fathers and my grandfathers and my great-grandfathers, maybe choices we have made collectively will actually be what brings us down. Because you start thinking about that, you got to take responsibility for the downfall of the world. That's a little scarier and a more mature mindset and responsible to think about than, it's God's will. I don't have to, nothing I could have done anyway.
Oh yeah. A large part of this mindset is
I don't have to think about it.
It is essentially, in its own way, very much a live for now, screw the great-grandkids philosophy. For all the talk of family values and all the talk of personal responsibility, when they talk about personal responsibility, they're talking about dictating to somebody else's behavior.
Right.
They're not talking about their
Right.
behavior.
They don't
Is
want to
this
take
audio still going
responsibility
out?
for themselves.
Do we still have this audio going out?
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Good. Because even though I'm seeing we're not on the screen, I think we got a nice little tear going for the 45 seconds we still have. So let's turn on the CD a little bit. Yeah. There we go. Because this is good. Okay, there we go.
CD.
Huh?
So it's the CD.
Yeah.
I have my microphone turned off.
Oh, okay. Well, I was enjoying this, so I wanted to make sure that was getting heard. Okay. So yes, very much a philosophy of abridging their own kind of responsibility, or at least having an excuse to dictate to other people. So
Nobody wants to take responsibility for themselves.
Nope.
It's easier to blame it on God than it is to say, well, maybe I could have done something more or better.
Nope, we're off.
And that's the end of it.